Every day, people search for happiness as if it were hidden in distant mountains or buried under treasures. Yet, true happiness rarely comes from grand achievements. It grows quietly from the smallest choices, the simplest habits, the tiniest shifts in how we live. A single drop of water may seem insignificant, but over time it carves valleys through stone. In the same way, small changes in our daily rhythm can shape a life that feels lighter, freer, and more joyful. Gratitude is often spoken of as a virtue, yet many underestimate its power as a daily practice. When we think of happiness, we imagine large successes, the fulfillment of long-awaited dreams, or the acquisition of things we once lacked. But happiness, built only on external achievements, is fragile, easily shaken when circumstances change. Gratitude, however, is like an inner wellspring. It teaches the heart to find joy not in what is missing, but in what is already present. When you awaken in the morning and choose to notice the smallest blessings, you immediately shift your mind toward abundance instead of scarcity. The warmth of your bed, the ability to breathe deeply, the faint light breaking through the window. These details are easily overlooked, yet they are signs that life still offers itself to you in countless ways. Gratitude begins with the willingness to notice. It does not demand that everything be perfect. Rather, it asks that we open our eyes to the quiet gifts hidden in the ordinary. The practice of gratitude transforms perspective. Two people can walk through the same day, face the same challenges, and experience the same routines. One may grumble about the dullness of repetition, while the other feels thankful for stability and the chance to begin again. Gratitude turns what we have into enough, and what is ordinary into something meaningful. When you appreciate a meal, you are not simply eating. You are honoring the effort that brought the food to your table, the hands that prepared it, and the nourishment it provides. When you appreciate a conversation, you are not merely passing time. You are valuing connection, recognizing that another soul has shared a piece of their existence with you. Every time gratitude enters a moment, it deepens it, pulling you away from the shallow habit of taking life for granted. Gratitude also serves as a powerful antidote to negativity. The mind is naturally drawn to problems, complaints, and fears. Left unchecked, it magnifies difficulties until they overshadow all that is good. But when gratitude is practiced deliberately, it interrupts this cycle. Instead of dwelling endlessly on what went wrong, you train yourself to notice what went right, however small it may be. Perhaps you faced stress at work, but a colleague offered support. Perhaps the day was difficult, but you still made it home safely. Gratitude does not deny challenges, it simply ensures they are not the only story you tell yourself. Over time, this habit rewires the brain, shifting focus toward possibilities instead of limitations. Even in relationships, gratitude has the power to create harmony. When we consistently recognize the value of others, when we say thank you not out of obligation but from genuine appreciation, bonds grow stronger. A word of thanks to a friend, a gesture of acknowledgement to a family member, a silent appreciation of someone's effort. All of these acts soften walls of indifference and create warmth between people. Gratitude reminds us that no one owes us kindness, yet when kindness is given, it deserves to be seen and honored. This awareness deepens respect and prevents relationships from falling into the trap of entitlement. On a personal level, gratitude grounds us. In moments of loneliness or uncertainty, recalling what remains, our health, our abilities, the lessons we have learned, the people who stood by us, offers comfort and stability. Life is unpredictable and storms are inevitable, but gratitude becomes an anchor. Instead of drifting endlessly in dissatisfaction, we hold on to the knowledge that even in hardship, there is something left to cherish. This realization nurtures resilience. It allows us to rise again, carrying with us not bitterness but strength, because we have trained ourselves to search for light even in shadows. Gratitude also awakens us to the beauty of the present moment. Often, we race ahead, imagining happiness in some future achievement. But the future is uncertain, and postponing joy until everything aligns perfectly means we may never fully experience it. Gratitude interrupts this habit of delay by acknowledging the goodness of now. The laughter of a child, the sound of rain, the warmth of tea in your hands. You allow yourself to feel happiness in real time, not just in imagined tomorrows. It is in these small acknowledgements that life begins to feel full, even without extraordinary events. Slowing down is one of the simplest yet most overlooked ways to invite happiness into daily life. In a world that constantly urges speed, where everything from communication to transportation is designed to save time, the idea of slowing down can feel counterintuitive. Yet, what people often forget is that in saving time, they may also be losing the ability to truly experience it. Each day is filled with moments that slip by unnoticed because the mind is racing toward the next task, the next obligation, or the next desire. When you slow down, you reclaim those moments. You begin to notice the richness in ordinary experiences, the subtle details that make life more vivid, and the quiet spaces where joy hides. Slowing down is not about abandoning responsibilities or neglecting ambition. It is about choosing presence over haste, depth over speed, and meaning over mere efficiency. When you slow down, even the most mundane activities transform. Eating a meal, for instance, is no longer a mechanical act of consumption, but an opportunity to savor flavors, textures, and the effort that went into creating the food. A simple walk ceases to be just a way of getting from one place to another and becomes an exploration of sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Conversations become richer because you are not rushing to respond or distracted by what comes next. In slowing down, you allow each moment to unfold fully, and in doing so, you begin to see that happiness often resides in the details you once ignored. Slowing down also brings calmness to the mind. Constant rushing creates a sense of restlessness, a subtle but persistent stress that prevents true contentment. The mind, always running ahead, rarely finds peace in the now. But when you slow down, you break this cycle. You give yourself permission to breathe, to pause, to be still. This stillness is not emptiness. It is a space where clarity emerges, where you can reconnect with your thoughts and feelings without being pulled in 100 directions. From this calmness comes a deeper appreciation for life as it is, rather than a constant chase for what it could be. Another gift of slowing down is that it strengthens awareness. When you are not rushing, you begin to notice not only the world around you, but also your inner world. You become more aware of how your body feels, how your emotions shift, and how your thoughts wander. This awareness allows you to respond more thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. It creates space for choice. Choice to enjoy, to reflect, to redirect, or to simply rest. Happiness grows when you are conscious of your life rather than moving through it mechanically. And slowing down is the doorway to such consciousness. Slowing down can also improve relationships. Many conflicts and misunderstandings arise not because of malice, but because people are too hurried to truly listen or to truly see each other. When you slow down in your interactions, you allow others to feel valued. You listen without interruption, you notice body language, you give attention that communicates respect and care. These small gestures build trust and connection, making bonds stronger and more meaningful. Happiness, in large part, is nurtured through relationships, and slowing down is one of the simplest ways to enhance them. Even in work and productivity, slowing down can paradoxically make you more effective. Constant haste leads to mistakes, burnout, and a shallow quality of output. When you move more slowly, you bring focus and care to what you are doing. You notice details you might have missed. You reduce errors, and you allow creativity to flow naturally. Instead of scattering energy across many rushed tasks, you channel it fully into the task at hand. This not only improves results, but also makes the process more fulfilling, turning work into something that can bring satisfaction rather than only stress. Ultimately, slowing down invites balance. It reminds you that life is not a race to be won, but an experience to be lived. Every pause becomes an opportunity to breathe. Every moment of unhurried attention becomes a source of quiet joy. And every step taken at a gentler pace becomes a reminder that happiness does not always come from more, faster, or bigger, but often from less, slower, and simpler. Kindness is often seen as something we extend outward, a gift we offer to others, yet it is just as much a gift to ourselves. A single kind act may appear small, almost insignificant, but its effects ripple outward in ways we cannot measure. When you smile at a stranger, when you hold the door open for someone, when you offer a word of encouragement to a friend, you are not only brightening their day, but also shaping the atmosphere around you. Kindness transforms the spaces it touches. It softens tension, it melts hostility, and it plants seeds of trust and warmth. In a world that can often feel harsh or indifferent, these small gestures of kindness become beacons of light, reminders that humanity still has gentleness at its core. Practicing kindness is not about dramatic gestures or heroic sacrifices. It is about the simple, consistent ways we choose to interact with the world. A genuine compliment, a thoughtful message, a helping hand extended without being asked. These are not difficult acts, yet they carry weight. What makes them powerful is not their scale, but their sincerity. People may forget what is said to them, but they rarely forget how they were made to feel, and kindness has a way of etching itself into memory. Happiness grows naturally when we create moments where others feel seen, valued, and uplifted, because in lifting them, we also lift ourselves. Kindness also alters our perspective. When we approach life with the intention to be kind, our focus shifts away from constant self-concern. Instead of dwelling on what we lack or what frustrates us, we begin to look outward, seeking opportunities to ease the burdens of others. This outward focus brings balance, breaking the endless cycle of self-criticism and dissatisfaction. By choosing to give, even in small ways, we remind ourselves that we are not isolated fragments, but part of a shared human experience. This connection itself becomes a source of joy, because happiness often flourishes when we step outside the walls of our own worries. Scientific studies even show that acts of kindness release chemicals in the brain associated with pleasure and calmness. The simple act of helping someone or offering compassion creates a physical sense of well-being, reinforcing the truth that kindness nourishes the giver as much as the receiver. It is like lighting a candle for another. The flame of your own does not diminish, but grows stronger, casting more warmth into the surrounding space. When practiced consistently, kindness becomes a habit that reshapes your emotional landscape, making you more resilient in the face of negativity and more open to the beauty in everyday life. In relationships, kindness is the thread that holds connections together. Without kindness, even the closest bonds can weaken, because love and respect require daily acts of care to stay alive. A kind word spoken in the midst of conflict, a small gesture of thoughtfulness when someone feels overlooked, a willingness to forgive when mistakes are made, all of these sustain relationships and prevent them from withering. Kindness is the language of the heart, and when spoken often, it creates harmony where there could have been distance. Happiness, for many people, is inseparable from the quality of their relationships, and kindness is the key to nurturing them. Yet kindness is not limited to how we treat others. It is also how we treat ourselves. Many people live under the weight of relentless self-criticism, speaking to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. By practicing self-kindness, allowing yourself forgiveness for mistakes, patience for growth, and gentleness in moments of struggle, you create an inner environment where happiness can take root. The way you speak to yourself influences the way you experience life. When self-talk becomes kinder, the entire outlook of your day begins to shift. Kindness, then, is both inward and outward, small and vast, simple and profound. It requires no wealth, no special talent, no extraordinary circumstance. It only asks for willingness. The willingness to soften instead of harden, to give instead of withhold, to see others not as obstacles, but as fellow travelers on the same road. Every act of kindness, however tiny, adds to the sum of joy in the world and returns to the giver in quiet yet undeniable ways. Nature has always been a silent teacher, yet many pass by its lessons without listening. Surrounded by screens, schedules, and the endless noise of modern life, it is easy to forget that happiness often lives in the simplest of natural encounters. A moment under the open sky can reset the mind, a breath of fresh air can lighten the body, and the sight of trees or water can bring calm where there was tension. Reconnecting with nature does not demand long journeys into forests or mountains. It can be as simple as noticing the way sunlight filters through a window, or the way rain taps gently against the earth. These moments remind us that life is larger than our worries, steadier than our fears, and more generous than our desires. When you step into nature, you step into a rhythm older than your own struggles. The rising of the sun, the flowing of rivers, the changing of seasons, all unfold without haste, without resistance. Observing this natural rhythm teaches patience and acceptance. A tree does not force itself to grow faster than its season allows. It takes its time, trusting the process. In the same way, connecting with nature can remind you to slow down and trust your own journey, to recognize that growth takes time, and that not everything must be rushed. Happiness begins to bloom when you allow yourself to live in harmony with this slower, steadier rhythm instead of fighting against it. Being in nature also sharpens the senses. When you walk barefoot on grass, you feel the texture of the earth beneath you. When you pause to listen, you hear birds singing or leaves rustling in the breeze. When you gaze at the horizon, you realize how vast the sky truly is. These sensory details ground you in the present moment, pulling you away from the constant noise of thoughts. By paying attention to these small yet vivid experiences, you cultivate presence, and with presence comes a quiet joy that is often missed in the rush of daily living. Nature also has the power to restore emotional balance. Stress and negativity accumulate quickly in environments filled with pressure, deadlines, and artificial demands. But when you immerse yourself even briefly in a natural setting, your mind begins to clear. The nervous system relaxes, the body releases tension, and the spirit feels lighter. This is why people instinctively seek fresh air when overwhelmed, or why a simple walk outside can shift the mood so dramatically. The natural world does not ask anything of you, nor does it judge you. It simply exists, offering peace to anyone who chooses to step into its embrace. Spending time in nature can also nurture gratitude. Standing before a sunset, seeing the endless stars in the night sky, or watching waves crash against the shore, you realize how small your troubles are in comparison to the vastness of the universe. This perspective softens the weight of daily problems and invites appreciation for the sheer gift of being alive. It reminds you that happiness does not come from controlling everything, but from learning to marvel at what is already given. The colors of flowers, the scent of rain, the touch of wind on your face. These are blessings too easily forgotten, yet they are freely available every day to those who notice. In addition to emotional benefits, connection with nature also nurtures the body. Fresh air fills the lungs more deeply. Sunlight nourishes with warmth and energy, and gentle movement like walking or gardening strengthens without force. The body thrives when aligned with natural rhythms, and a healthy body becomes a fertile ground for a happy mind. Happiness is not only a state of thought, but also a state of being, and nature supports both seamlessly. Perhaps most profoundly, nature offers a sense of belonging. Though people often separate themselves from the natural world, seeing it as something outside of daily life, the truth is that we are part of it. The water that flows through rivers flows also through our veins. The oxygen produced by trees sustains our breath, and the cycles of day and night guide the rhythms of our own existence. Realizing this connection awakens a deep sense of unity. In that unity, loneliness lessens, and happiness grows from the recognition that we are never truly isolated, but always woven into the larger fabric of life. Presence is one of the most powerful yet elusive practices in daily life. The human mind has a tendency to wander, pulled backward into regrets of yesterday, or pushed forward into anxieties about tomorrow. In this constant drifting, the richness of the present moment often goes unnoticed. Yet happiness exists only here, in the now, never in the past that cannot be changed, nor in the future that has not yet arrived. Cultivating presence means choosing to anchor yourself to what is unfolding before you, giving full attention to the experiences, people, and sensations that exist in this exact moment. It is a shift from living life on the surface to engaging with it deeply, from passing through days unconsciously to inhabiting them fully. When you practice presence, even ordinary experiences take on new dimensions. Eating a meal becomes more than satisfying hunger. It becomes an act of savoring flavor, appreciating nourishment, and enjoying the stillness of the moment. Walking down a familiar street is no longer a hurried act of moving from one place to another, but an opportunity to notice the details, the pattern of light on the ground, the sound of footsteps, the colors of the world around you. Talking with someone becomes not just an exchange of words, but a genuine connection, because you are not distracted by your phone or by the next thought pressing into your mind. Presence elevates what is simple into something meaningful, and in doing so, it naturally creates happiness. The challenge of presence lies in the distractions of modern life. Technology, obligations, and constant stimulation pull attention in countless directions. It is easy to find yourself physically in one place, but mentally scattered across many. This fragmentation drains joy because it prevents true engagement with the moment at hand. Yet presence is like a muscle that strengthens with practice. By intentionally returning to the here and now, by reminding yourself to focus on what is real in front of you, you gradually train the mind to stay rooted. Even short moments of full awareness, repeated often, begin to shift the way life feels, replacing scattered restlessness with grounded clarity. Presence also brings calmness. Much of stress arises not from the moment itself, but from stories we tell about the past and worries we invent about the future. The present, when examined closely, is often bearable, even peaceful. By anchoring attention to what is immediate, the breath moving in and out, the chair supporting you, the sounds surrounding you, you create a pause in the cycle of anxious thought. This pause allows the nervous system to relax, and within that relaxation, happiness arises not from external circumstances, but from the simplicity of being. In relationships, presence is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. To truly listen, to look into someone's eyes without distraction, to give them undivided attention. These acts communicate value more than any words could. People often crave not solutions but presence, the assurance that someone is genuinely with them. When you bring presence into interactions, bonds deepen, misunderstandings lessen, and warmth grows. The happiness that results from being truly seen and from truly seeing another is one of the most profound forms of joy. Presence also enhances creativity and productivity. When the mind is scattered, tasks are approached half-heartedly, with constant interruptions of thought. But when fully immersed in the present, focus sharpens. Ideas flow more naturally, work feels less burdensome, and results often improve. Even challenging tasks become manageable, because attention is not divided between doing and worrying. Presence turns effort into engagement, making the process itself rewarding, not just the outcome. Living with presence is also a way of honoring life itself. Every moment, once gone, cannot be retrieved. To rush through it in distraction is to lose something precious. Presence is a form of respect for the time you are given, for the people around you, for the experiences that shape you. It is an acknowledgement that this moment is enough, that happiness does not need to be postponed until circumstances align perfectly. By being present, you open yourself to the joy already available, hidden in the ordinary details of today. Self-compassion is a practice that many struggle to embrace, often mistaking it for weakness or self-indulgence. Yet it is one of the most vital ingredients of a truly happy life. People are quick to extend patience, forgiveness, and understanding to others, but when it comes to themselves, they are often harsh, demanding, and unkind. The inner critic becomes louder than the voice of encouragement, and instead of being a source of support to oneself, one becomes a source of pressure. This relentless self-judgment erodes happiness because it creates a constant sense of inadequacy, no matter what is achieved. Practicing self-compassion means turning that harshness into gentleness, allowing yourself to be human, to stumble, to learn, and to grow without the constant burden of perfection. When you treat yourself with compassion, you create an inner environment where peace can flourish. Instead of constantly pushing yourself forward with criticism, you learn to motivate yourself with care. Imagine speaking to yourself as you would to a dear friend, offering encouragement in difficulty, patience in times of growth, and forgiveness when mistakes are made. This shift in inner dialogue transforms not only how you feel about yourself, but also how you experience daily life. The weight of judgment lifts, and happiness has space to grow in its place. Self-compassion also builds resilience. Life is filled with challenges, and no one escapes failure or disappointment. Those who lack self-compassion often collapse under setbacks, seeing them as proof of their unworthiness. But those who practice gentleness with themselves are able to stand back up, not because they avoid mistakes, but because they do not allow mistakes to define them. They understand that failure is not the end, but part of the process, that imperfection is not shameful but natural. This perspective allows happiness to coexist with hardship because you no longer demand flawlessness from yourself in order to feel worthy of joy. Another aspect of self-compassion is learning to rest without guilt.